Okay, you fans of Walt Disney all over the world, I'm going to take you to his first studio, or studios rather, on Kingswell Avenue. And this is the first apartment where he lived, Walt, with his new bride Lillian in 1925. And I imagine they picked this apartment because he could see the studios right down that alley south of us. So let's go, follow me. And for what that's worth, that was a hit in 1924 called Mama's Gone Goodbye, and I thought that would be apropos to play. So let's follow me. And again, I'm in the Los Feliz area. I haven't left yet after filming this apartment building where Walt and Lillian moved to in July of 1925. And I'm going to take you now to his first studios where he directed, produced, and filmed the Alice comedies. He didn't actually film the Alice comedies here, but he wrote all the storyboards and he wrote all the scripts. And I don't know if this is the first film with superimposed animation. And the young girl that he brought from Kansas City, her name was Virginia Davis, and there it is. We're coming to it, you Walt Disney fans, which happens to be the 60th anniversary of the opening of Disneyland. And I thought that would be kind of nice because there's going to be an American Masters show September 14th on PBS. So I thought that would be kind of like ironic and cool to do at this juncture in time. And if you're at all interested, if you're a fan of the cult film Swingers in 1996 with Heather Graham, Ron Livingston, Jon Favreau, and Vince Vaughn, this is the scene where they take that gun away. I forgot from what character, but here's that famous scene, that hilarious movie Swingers. So I recommend you people, if you haven't seen it, you're in for a uproarious, rollicking movie. Okay, here it is. There's the back entrance of those two, and he actually rented this. It was the Holly Vermont Realty Company in front, and him and 9 others, including Lillian, who was hired in January of 1924, Ham Hamilton, Rudy Icing, and I think Iwerks came from Kansas City. He came here in July of 1924, but they rented this in October of 1923, and they made Alice's Day at Sea, Alice's Spooky Adventure, Alice's Wild West Show, Alice the Toreador. And this is where Walt and his animators made a pact that they would all wear pencil lined mustaches, and Walt, until the day he died, he wore his mustache, for what that's worth, or that little factoid. And here's Kingswell. This is where the same street where he came to live with his Uncle Robert in August of 1923, and where Roy was already living off and on, but he was actually at the VA in Westwood. And here you go. And there's a famous photo of all the animators. Walt, and I think Lillian is in that picture. I'm not too sure which one it was, but like I said, it was a Holly Vermont Realty Company, and the address, to be exact, was first 4651, and that's 4647. And then when they started going and bustling and making money with the Alice comedies, they moved next door to 4649. And these numbers, they don't really match, but this is where animation and film history took place, and thankfully it's still here. That's 4655. So I would imagine sometime in some distant past they combined and made this into one unit right here. And here's Kingswell Avenue, and like I said, this area changed animation and film history. And Virginia Davis, she said that they would only take one take while they were filming the Alice comedies because there was absolutely no money for film. And here's another shot across the street Thankfully it's still here, and most of this area, it's still extant the way it looked in the 20s and 30s. And this is Vermont Avenue, a block away from Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm going to take you to where they actually did film the outside scenes for Alice's comedies. Okay, so we're looking north on Vermont, and here's another shot, and this is where his uncle Robert, Roy, and Walt's uncle lived, and thankfully he was living here in this area, and he was Roy was able to come first because he had TB, and then of course Walt followed after really going bankrupt in Kansas City. And like I said, if you're at all interested, you can see photos of all of them standing in front. And like I said, that famous pact that they made, that they would all wear pencil thin mustaches, and for whatever that's worth. And I'm gonna take you fans all over the world to where Uncle Robert lived, and where Roy and Walt lived with him until December, and then they moved across the street in 1923 in the Olive Hill Apartments. So as you can see, it's still original from that time period, 1923, and they stayed in these studios until 1926, until they moved to Hyperion, where I'm going to take you fans of Walt Disney Next, where they did the Silly Symphonies. Okay, another shot here, thanks to Margaret Winkler and distributing the Alice comedies. And pretty much, it was an ingenious idea if you give it a really good long thought, because who would ever have thought of superimposing animation, which Walt later did, I think in 1949 with Song of the South also. Okay, and Hugh Harmon, he was one of the animators, Rudy Icing, and there was a staff of 9, and he hired Lillian here for $15 a week as an inker. Like I said, in January, pretty much from the beginning, January of 1924, until he married her in July of 1925. And so, and also later on, because of when Ube Iwerks came from Kansas City, that's when they started kind of like making the whole significant part of the Alice comedies, the animation, because of Ube. He had his ingenious animator, and that's why they kind of like started using more of the animation. And then of course the Silly Symphonies, and then of course 1938, which it all culminated in Snow White. And here you go, thankfully it's still here, original from that time period. And we're in back of the Dresden restaurant. Like I said, you can see that part there in the film, in one of the scenes where they're taking the gun away from one of the characters, John Favreau and Vince Vaughn. And like I said, I would imagine why Walt, when he got married to Lillian, why he moved in those apartments where I filmed for you fans, because he could keep his eye on the studio from there. Okay, follow me and please subscribe to my channel, and let's continue this virtual tour of one of the most ingenious, successful, enigmatic animators, businessmen, and film producers of all time, Walt Disney. Thank you, Walt, wherever you're at, and Roy too. Okay, let's go. Follow me. Thank you.